Listen, I didn't understand. I thought USAID was doing gay shit. It turns out the billions of dollars spent on USAID wasn't just on homosexual Marxism. In Guatemala, a big part of it was purchasing my grain.
We're going to begin with federal workers asking what the heck is going on, among other things they're saying, as they struggle to figure out what is happening with their jobs and make sense of what they're hearing from Elon Musk. Now, as you've heard, he has told them via social media.
All of this is named after a cryptocurrency scam, which makes this entire situation even funnier, I guess. If you're on the outside looking in and you think, well, America has destroyed my country, so fuck them. If that's your attitude, if you're living in the global south or whatever, it's probably a funny ride. Great stuff overall. The enshittification of the American government continues. Fantastic.
To send an email with 5 things they did last week, or else they will lose their jobs. But now they are fighting back with a lawsuit, and they're also showing up at town halls across the country demanding that Congress stand up for them. Weijia Zhang is at the White House with more on the story. Weijia, good morning to you. People getting very frustrated and speaking up.
And the twists and turns keep coming, Gail. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone. Elon Musk initially set a deadline of midnight last night for those federal workers to comply with his order to justify their jobs in writing. With just hours to go, Musk backtracked, telling staffers they now have more time. His moves are not only causing confusion, but anger. President Trump praised Elon Musk for threatening to terminate federal workers who do not share 5 accomplishments from their week.
Everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they?
But even Trump could not give a definitive explanation about the consequence of not complying.
And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired.
Hours before the midnight deadline, Musk posted on X, subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance. Failure to respond a second time will result in termination. Then came further guidance from the Office of Personnel Management about the Monday night deadline, saying agency heads may exclude personnel from this expectation at their discretion, but also agencies should consider any appropriate actions regarding employees who fail to respond.
I want to let you know there's a legal and proper way to downsize government.
People are lashing out at their representatives in Congress, like Republican Mark Alford in Missouri at a town hall yesterday.
Elon Musk has contracts with the federal government.
I think one of the grossest aspects of this is that people just regularly choose not to recognize how little billionaires and CEOs in general do. And it's so annoying that it is the CEOs and billionaires that literally do nothing, like Elon Musk, okay? Elon Musk does so little that he fakes doing nothing by claiming that he's a top level, like highest ranked Path of Exile 2 player. Like that's how little people care about billionaires doing virtually fuck all on a daily basis, that you can basically claim falsely that all you do is play video games as a marketing strategy, okay? All he does is tweet all day. That's it. All he does is tweet all day, man. A list of 5 things Elon did, 140,000 likes. Dear Elon, here's what I did last week. Got blitzed on ketamine, ignored my children, tweeted 1,782 times, wore weird sunglasses inside, got humiliated by astronauts. Honestly, I think I should be fired for this, but that's your call. Best John. I mean, this is like, he can openly get away with not doing anything, okay? Regularly. He can just get away with not doing anything and people still eat that shit up. They lap it up. It blows my mind. It's those people that are turning around and telling you as a federal government employee that you're not doing enough. That's what makes me so mad.
But he is also, I think, doing an effective job.
Conflict of interest! Show me!
After hearing from furious constituents last week,
a lot of this stuff will be litigated in court, right? Some of it.
Georgia GOP Congressman Rich McCormick now says there should be studies on the impact of mass firings.
If you want to talk about things I'm critical, I think we're just moving a little bit too fast.
I love that the Republicans that are also getting pushback at their town halls, so they have to go back and be like, maybe we're doing a bit much. Perhaps dismantling the administrative state isn't the best idea. You know, you kind of need those guys to make things work.
Robert McCabe, who was fired from the IRS, says he voted for Trump. Now he's stunned over how much power the president has.
I wasn't voting for a king. He has to answer to Congress.
What do you mean you weren't voting for a king? I still don't think this person should have been fired from his job at the IRS. But what did you think was going to happen? You voted for the party that literally said you and others like you, 85,000 of you, have guns and you're going to go and steal people's trailer parks. They're going to do asset seizures. God damn, dude. I want to be principled and talk about the humanity of every single person, but some of these motherfuckers make it so hard. You voted for the party that kept saying your office, okay? The 85,000 armed IRS agents are coming to steal all of our money. You voted for that guy. Like, I get it. The Democrats suck, but like, god damn, dude. What the hell did you think was going to happen? Holy moly. What did you think was going to happen?
And that's my big question is where are our congressional leaders?
Where are they? I voted for him when Donald Trump said he'd be a dictator on day one. Okay. I thought to myself, that's my guy. I just didn't think he'd be dictating my job to be removed. I didn't realize that's what that meant.
McCabe says he feels for the federal workers who are agonizing over their futures.
I mean, it felt like we were going into a prison every day, just doing our death march, waiting for the hammer to drop.
Anger is not only starting to boil over at those congressional town halls, there have also been some other public displays of protest. Over the weekend, workers at Yosemite National Park hung an American flag upside down at the El Capitan rock formation. The traditional sign for distress was meant to draw attention.
Elon Musk
Rancher who has voted for Trump 3 times shares concerns. Listen, I didn't understand. I thought USAID was doing gay shit. I didn't realize they were responsible for purchasing all my grain and shipping it to Somalia. It turns out the billions of dollars spent on USAID wasn't just on homosexual Marxism in Guatemala. A big part of it was purchasing my grain. All of a sudden, I got a $700,000 hole in my budget. Turns out it was aiding me as well.
Bush has another message for federal workers who don't respond to an email they received over the weekend asking them to justify their jobs or lose them. The deadline for that email was at midnight. But earlier today, the Office of Personnel Management said a response was, quote, not mandatory. And just before airtime, Musk posted this.
The thing I'm the most jealous of always is the fact that Republicans get to do this. Like, they can just cause instability because any kind of trajectory change is going to cause instability. Okay. It's going to be a little chaotic in the interim, but Republicans get to do it for all of the worst reasons. Because if you think, like, obviously changing the American healthcare structure and like the abolition of for-profit privatized health insurance is not going to be chaotic, you're wrong. Of course it's going to be chaotic, right? In the interim, there is going to be chaos, but it's for a good purpose. Okay. It's for every American citizen getting healthcare. That's a good thing. Republicans get to do all of this shit and they do it in the opposite direction in a way that harms Americans, and they still get to do it, and they don't even get to suffer the repercussions instantly. I hate it. I'm jealous. I'm just genuinely jealous.
This, quote, subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance. Failure to respond a second time will result in termination. A month into the administration, Trump voters seem to be paying attention.
How does getting rid of useless government employees cause harm? The left can't stop appealing to emotions. Oh my Lord, dude. Who are you arguing against? Oh, thank God we got hogs in here. Okay, do not ban this person. Useless government employees is a lie that was told to you, okay? You just lapped it up because it's your guy saying the lie. If you had ever actually encountered my commentary while the Democrats were in charge, I, unlike many of my Republican counterparts, didn't allow the Democrats to just get away with lying. I routinely criticize them, as I am criticizing the Republican Party right now. The difference between you and I, however, is that when your party, when the party that you align with tells you something, you believe it. That's the problem. Politicians lie. Newsflash, okay? Yeah, if they were getting rid of useless government employees, you would be correct, okay? There would still be financial harm there. obviously, because the government should be a jobs program. Okay, I always voted Democrat, homie. I don't care who you voted for, dumbass. You obviously believe what the fuck the Trump administration is saying. That is the problem. It doesn't matter if you voted Democrat or Republican. What matters is you obviously believe the propaganda. You believed it. You think that the government is currently getting rid of useless government employees. That is not the case. Okay? Even if they were getting rid of useless government employees, there's obviously still an argument to be made about how we should have all of these jobs. We should have more jobs from the government. Okay? The government should offer more jobs programs to American individuals. Everyone should have a job. But that's not the case anyway, because that's not how the American government operates regardless. We have consistently cut government employees, even though the population has increased year over year. That's why the peak of the government employees was in the 90s. Okay? We've had a lower number of federal government employees since the 90s, despite the fact that our population has increased. The government jobs, on the other hand, have not increased alongside that. When you say, oh, they're firing useless government employees, you're falling for the propaganda and the lies that the Republican administration is currently telling. That is precisely the reason why when they go back and actually fire thousands of federal employees, like probationary employees, for example, they have to go, oopsie, I guess we fucked up. Like, for example, I'll give you two examples, okay? Two examples of where they had to go back instantly. Number one, the Department of Energy. You think they're doing, I don't know, gay, like climate change subsidies or something. But the Department of Energy actually also controls the American nuclear arsenal. So when they did these mass cuts without actually looking at who they were cutting, they ended up firing the people that control the nukes. So they had to go back and be like, oh shit, we fucked up. Can you please come back? Another example I can give you in terms of federal government employees that they fired was when they went in and fired the people that were actually overseeing the current avian flu. When you go to the goddamn store right now and there are no fucking eggs, you can't buy any goddamn eggs. And I need eggs because I need the protein. The reason for why you can't get those eggs is because of the avian flu, okay? It's ripping through our egg supply. How do you fucking fire the guys who are tasked with trying to stop the spread of the bird flu when there is a major inflationary crisis? That's precisely why they went back and they were like, oops, we fucked up. Let's hire these guys back. They are not. And they backtracked on the Forest Service as well. This is like a minor part, a minuscule part of the overall budget. The Forest Services are already undermined and underfunded. Imagine doing this. And this is the reality at virtually every part of the federal government, okay? Virtually every part of the federal government is underfunded and undermined. They need more workers, not less. And we certainly have the money to pay for more workers and not less, except we choose to use our endless, vast amounts of wealth on subsidies for corporations so billionaires and millionaires can turn a tidy profit every single quarter. This is why I keep repeating the point that they are literally robbing you blind, okay? These are your tax dollars that they took from you that they're basically giving back to the wealthiest people in American society. And they're cutting jobs, like the decently paying jobs, okay, in comparison to a nation where there is an underemployment crisis at like 28% of the existing labor force, where everyone is a part of the gig economy serfdom at this point. They're cutting some of these stable full-time jobs. What do you think the economic impact of that is going to look like in a couple years? Have you ever ran a business with that many? How do you know they are not useless? How does he know they are? You both don't. Truth always is, it's a little bit of both. Why can't y'all just be honest? The last two things you said are pure propaganda, but you're good with that, right? Yelling at them for listening to right propaganda while listening to CNN. I literally yell at CNN every fucking day. What are you talking about? And not only that, but also the last two things I didn't give you were propaganda. It's the truth of what took place. Planes are falling out of the goddamn sky, and this guy's like, you know what we need to do? Cut the air traffic controllers even further. Anyway, see, he don't get timed out, but I do. Yeah. You do. It is what it is. There's an aviation incident virtually every single day, okay? Wait till they cut TSA. They already did. They already did. All of those cuts actually lead to worse experiences overall. That's the other side of this story. And people don't have the capacity to understand how this actually impacts them. And even while they're experiencing the impacts of those budget cuts, they still think it's actually the workers that are at fault. When they cut the existing TSA workforce, what do you think that happened? What do you think that means for you. If you ever actually have to go and fly, you have to wait in longer lines now. It means you're going to wait in a line, a much longer line, and probably miss your flight. I'm so sick of telling my family members about Trump's ridiculous statement of the day and then having them immediately go, oh, he must have been quoted out of context. There's going to be a lot of that in the interim, okay? There's going to be a lot of people that just hold on to the notion that Donald Trump is Donald Trump is doing great things. Because for a lot of Americans, the reason why they voted for Donald Trump is because of the deep resentment that they feel towards the government that hasn't helped them at all. So they're like, yeah, let's break things. Let's break things and rebuild them. Surely it will be better. So if you're used to nothing, ever changing and your conditions getting worse and worse, then all of a sudden this guy is doing something, right? Before you recognize that the something that they did is harming you, in the process of doing those things, people will go, yeah, it's not too bad that we're shaking things up. Fuck the government. This is what happens after decades of neoliberalism. People develop a deep resentment towards the federal government. People don't think the government actually has their back. People don't think that the government is actually working to make their lives better and more stable, especially because a lot of the things that the federal government does is invisible. It's supposed to be invisible. Why the fuck would you ever care about the National Weather Service? You don't even think about it. You go, oh, the weather app is just showing me what's going on. They don't realize the hundreds of millions of dollars that go into climate scientists like constantly, and the American Army and the Air Force flying around trying to figure out what's happening with weather patterns. You don't think about food safety inspections and regulation that goes into play. You just go to the supermarket and you purchase a slab of beef without having to ever consider all of the federal government initiatives that took place that ensure that the meat that you're eating is not going to kill you. That is a measure, a safety measure that is invisible, and also it's a safety measure that actually harms the bottom line of corporations who would much rather sell you poisonous meat. Until it goes away, you will never understand how the federal government was making your lives better. The worst part of this process, however, is that if there's no one communicating how the federal government is actually making your lives better in the most invisible ways possible, then you're just kind of lost. You're lost. You're like, oh, I don't know. I guess like we just haven't fired enough trans people. That's probably the reason why. We just have to keep doing it over and over again. You got to be kidding. American food is toxic. Shut the fuck up. American food is the worst. You got to be kidding. Yes, dude, I know. That's why I advocate for good regulation, okay? More regulation, not less. Dude, if you think food is toxic right now, what you're talking about is actually subsidies-backed and oftentimes harmful to the broader public foods that Americans consume that is like easily accessible, okay? Readily accessible and cheap. What I'm talking about is something entirely different. We're talking about meat inspection, okay? And I don't mean meat inspection in an Ohio middle school because one of the parents in the opposition team decided that, you know, your daughter is trans or something. I'm talking like actually looking at going to a meat facility and inspecting the meat to make sure that it's not fucking poisonous.
Into the cuts, the threats, John King tonight has a new All Over the Map report from Colorado.
The Spoma Ranch spans more than 100 acres. Home to 60 horses and one last bison.
This little guy down here, his name is Trouble.
A bit ornery at times.
Aww.
Yes, Trouble.
You know, it's like Trump. I really don't like him as a person. I think he's arrogant, kind of a jerk, but...
David Hayes is a funny man.
I tried farming for a while, and I would rather get run over by a bison, you know.
The Northern Colorado Ranch has been in his family since the 1880s. The White House and Washington are far away.
We got like hot dogs.
Yes, Hayes wants the government shrunk, but he doesn't see a coherent plan. And he doesn't trust Elon Musk, doesn't believe what he says, doesn't want Trump letting Musk poke around Social Security or tax files.
I don't know how many people he's fired. And, you know, Musk keeps saying, well, I found $1 billion of waste here. And Social Security, there's hundreds of people that are collecting it that are between 100 years old and 150. Can you believe any of that crap? You can't substantiate it, but you can't believe it. So that's a trust issue.
A blue-collar rural guy in one of the nation's most competitive congressional districts. A 3-time Trump voter who calls the president unfocused and arrogant. But Democrats should hold the celebration.
But if you had a do-over tomorrow and you had to pick again between Trump and Harris, what would you do?
I would still do Trump.
So a conservative independent, is that fair?
Very conservative independent, yes.
So would Esmeralda Ramirez-Ray. She smiles when asked about Trump's frenetic first month.
I voted for that. I love it.
What did you vote for?
I voted for a president that was going to put America first. I voted for a president that was going to secure our borders. And I voted for a president that was going to make sure that we were respected throughout the world. And I believe I'm getting that.
Greeley is the northern edge of Colorado's 8th, a congressional district that is 40% Hispanic.
Dude, Americans make it so hard to feel bad for them while they're staring down the precipice of their demise. Like every step of the way, American exceptionalists and American individualists will just come out and just say the dumbest shit on the planet. And you're just like, okay, well, I give up, you know? I give up. What do you want me to do? You could have like Gestapo breaking down your door to put you to the fucking work camps and you'd still be like, nah, it was a good thing I did that. You know, we really got to get some hard work around these parts.
And has a significant undocumented population. Ramirez-Ray is a court interpreter for defendants who don't speak English. She agrees with Trump that some who cross the border illegally are violent criminals, but she wishes he would add that the overwhelming majority are good people.
I was raised as a migrant worker working in the fields. Those are the people that are out there picking their crops. So even though I support Trump, I don't believe that he's the end-all, be-all savior of humanity. Nobody is.
Now this one, we've had Canadian Hoser for a long time before all this stuff came up. Right. Well, the fights with American and Canadian hockey players and everything.
Like Hayes, Todd Waffle says Trump can be arrogant and pompous, but like Ramirez-Ray, he's a fan of the early pace.
I like him going full speed. Let's get things done. Let's find out if the policies work, they don't work. But yeah, this is the baby brewing system. Boil it up there.
Waffle started Satire Brewing 7 years ago. Business is good, and he constantly debates expanding. But a plan to boost sales by adding canning machines is on hold because of Trump tariffs on aluminum.
When you fly enough, you understand, buckle your seatbelt, turbulence ahead.
Waffle's approach is a trademark of many Trump voters. Accept the things that make you cringe to get the things you want, like a better economy and a stronger border.
Trump's going to say what he's going to say. And yeah, some of it's going to be exaggerated, some are not going to be true. But at the end of the day, I think you got to, sift through all that. Is he going to get things done? Is he going to get the country moving the right way?
Let go right in front of your eyes.
I mean, I've told you that this is literally the overarching attitude from Republicans right now. He's just getting things done, He's just a crazy guy, but he's taking a mallet to the goddamn federal government, and I hate the federal government because I've been told it doesn't do nothing, and all of the things that it does do are invisible, so I don't care, Fuck it, deregulate, okay? Destroy the administrative state, brother. I don't care. They don't realize the consequences of Donald Trump's mallet to the administrative state. They don't realize it, and also they like that he's doing something, anything, and they're dumb enough to think that Trump is destroying woke and that woke has actually destroyed their lives, I guess.
Just like that.
Austin Jenkins voted for lower taxes and less regulation. That would help his small businesses, including his cocktail bar and the Greeley Hatchet House.
He seemed like the lesser of two evils in my opinion.
But Jenkins finds the first month unsettling. Not a fan of tariffs or executive orders by the dozens or Musk popping from agency to agency.
I thought there's supposed to be checks and balances somewhere.
So where do I want to let go? Shoulder height?
Right in front of your eyes. So,
dude, everyone is a liberal at the end of the day. It's amazing. He said, I thought there were checks and balances. Everyone's a liberal, baby. Let's go. Everyone's a goddamn liberal. What about our institutions? All the petty bourgeois for these interviews is interesting. Yeah, all of our glorious small business owners, dude.
Plus, he sees fear in the Latino community, wishes Trump would find a more compassionate way to improve border security.
I think there's a better way to go about it. I don't know if it's necessarily just force them out.
Trump, of course, won't be on the ballot next election, but this district will help decide.
You never know.
Whether Republicans keep their tiny House majority.
The cost of living's getting crazy here in Colorado.
My cousin shed literal tears of joy when he didn't have to put pronouns in his email signature anymore for the DOD. He was a probationary employee for the DOD and was let go last week. Well, that's another way to eliminate putting pronouns in your email, in your work email, don't you think? If you don't have a work email any longer because you don't have a fucking job. This is what I mean when I say it's like maybe he was semi-fired, okay? Maybe he was semi-fired and he'll keep working for free, I guess. I don't know. But like, this is what I mean when I say it's so hard. It's so hard to maintain my across the board, I care about all workers attitude when these guys are literally begging for their own demise. Yeah, new pronouns, unemployed. It's hard, man. It's hard. I saw a tweet from an account that Elon Musk had recently retweeted about healthcare being a secret way to bring about communism and death and destruction. With what is it? What's the name of that account? It's like Rothmus or something. It's like one of those like, yeah, Rothmus is the account. And it zapped my brain. This is a account that just like posts dumbass libertarian shit all day, every day. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this exact tweet. It truly bricked my brain. I saw it and it like lasered me. It was like the mousetrap meme. The mice see other mice that has died in the mousetrap and still go for the cheese. And just like communists see all of the death and destruction born about, oh, here it is. Whoa, free cheese. And then everybody sees poverty and death and destruction under socialism and go, whoa, free healthcare. That account also posts Holocaust denial. Of course it does. People unironically believe this shit. They do. Honest question, why do you think Americans are so counter-revolutionary in their mindset? Because their brain is bricked. Dude, even during the Great Depression, Steinbeck, who wrote Grapes of Wrath, very famously said, socialism will never come to the United States of America because the workers do not see themselves as an exploited proletariat, but temporarily embarrassed millionaires. That is the reason. Americans literally think they are one cryptocurrency scheme away from being Elon Musk. They genuinely, truly believe in their minds that their wealth is right around the corner, okay? They're one lottery ticket removed from making it out the mud. They also are so close-minded, like they just think America is an exceptional country, and they refuse to reckon with the reality that like plenty of other competent capitalist social democracies offer this service. And unironically, even developing nations that are significantly poorer than the United States of America offer this. It's insane.
And I hope that they would have some kind of an impact on helping that.
I don't know if that's true. Didn't you say yourself once that the problem with these kinds of people is that they believe the people on the top deserve what they have? Yes, they do believe that. It is peasant mentality. It's the serf mindset. Yes, that goes along with what I'm talking about. They believe that they are going to work hard and work smart and get lucky and basically become the lords that they fancy. And they think the lords that they fancy currently are in that position of power because they also worked hard and worked smart. That's what this means.
Republican congressman won by just 2,000 votes. His 2026 re-election prospects will...
You don't understand socialism coming faster this way once it all collapses? No, it's not. Especially not in a fucking reactionary shithole like America, okay? What are you talking about? We are accelerating towards fascism. The only people who, in my opinion, are against true accelerationism are social democrats and socialists that advocate for at least like welfare and expansive social safety nets. They are the ones who are trying to stop the collapse. Accelerationists are so funny. They think like magically Americans are going to develop revolutionary consciousness out of nowhere. No, they're not. You know what we're bouldering towards in the state collapse? Who is going to restore order? Fascists.
Will likely hinge on Trump's performance, on whether swing voters here see the president as focused on the big issues or veering too far off target.
Hassan, you are not an accelerationist because you are not smart, but it's okay. You can learn, Lamau. Yes, I'm stupid. That's why I look at the situation and recognize that people are not going to magically start carrying copies of the fucking Red Book, okay? And build Maoist brigades in the mountains and start engaging in self-crit and the spiritual atom bomb of Mao Zedong thought is going to uplift both the third world and the first. It will happen. Hot take, but the way socialism can go through fascism if it must? No, that's not how this works, man. Y'all are crazy. Look at history. Is that what happened? No.
So, John, of all the Trump supporters you spoke with, some had complaints or at least unease about the president's first month back in office. Should the president be concerned?
Well, he should listen to them, Anderson, certainly. You do see some evidence today with the Trump administration backing off that Musk email to federal employees as perhaps evidence they are listening. Look, Trump voters, they understand there's a price of admission, some of the chaos, some of the other things. But what they most voted for was lower prices and a secure border. That half of the Trump voters we talked to complained about Musk, worried that he has too long of a leash. That's pretty interesting. Normally, people complain about Trump's tone, not so much about what he's doing. So if you're the president, you want to keep an eye on that. But the bigger risk is that, look, Trump's not on the ballot. 2 years from now, House Republicans will be and Senate Republicans will be. The district we were in is one of the most competitive districts in the country. It is very evenly
divided. Yeah, I can't wait for the Democrats to try and secure a marginal victory so they can do virtually nothing. And still say, oh, we'll do bipartisan compromise with our newfound majority, if that even happens, by the way.
Swing voters or soft Trump voters think that Trump and Musk and Republicans in Congress are off doing other things like wandering into...
You think the reactionary peasantry in Russia in 1917 was any better or more educated? They were just illiterate dumb hogs too at first. I think the material conditions of the 1917 peasantry in Tsarist Russia is entirely different than the comfortable lap of luxury that the American labor aristocrats experience on a daily fucking basis. Okay? I get what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from, but someone had to build class consciousness. But you're talking about peasantry, which is an entirely different class of person than a small business owner or an American who fucking fancies themselves. Like, the reactionary peasantry did not think they would be the czar one day. You understand? Neoliberalism and capitalism has an infinitely better mechanism of control to nullify and pacify any sort of revolutionary sentiment. That's the major difference. This is why I always talk about how authoritarian governance actually breeds resentment and possibly rebellion, whereas neoliberal governance does not. Neoliberal governance makes you feel like you are on the driver's seat, that you have some kind of control over all of the things that are happening. I'm just trying to point out that revolutions never really come from a massive rising of intelligence of the population. Yes, but it also, the American, if you ask the average American, they think America is a shining beacon of democracy, even under Donald Trump. They don't recognize that there is a uniparty principle across the board when it comes to deregulation and offering tax cuts to the fucking super wealthy. That's it. You're too combative sometimes. Some of these chatters are agreeing with you and you're just reading past what they actually mean. Just my take. I get holding out hope. I'm just saying that the conditions are very different in America right now, if that makes sense. And I'm also explaining why I still think that reforms in the interim are necessary in order to even build class consciousness. My argument has always been that you have to build the quote unquote vanguard first, okay? You have to at least build a network of real resistance, a network that can cause economic harm. And right now, when I look at America and look at Americans, look at their relations to the means of production and their attitudes overall, I don't see any sort of revolution ever happening. There is no network. There aren't even labor unions in this country. And plenty of labor unions are also completely captured by corporate interests to begin with. Think about it. Think about what I just showed you about, okay, this is the average American's perspective, okay? I want to repeat this once again. This is like low-key, there are a lot of Americans who feel this way, okay? So what do you think accelerationism would bring about in a country where there are plenty of people who unironically think this way? There is a lot of work that needs to be done. It doesn't happen overnight. With easy access to guns, okay, good luck. Who is more gunned up in this country? The dumbass hogs that believe this shit and would kill you for being trans, or the Socialist Rifle Association?
The federal agencies are looking at the Social Security records and not lowering costs and worrying about the border. The Republicans could pay the price. So we'll keep going back to this district. We're only a month in. I wouldn't shoot up any flares yet if you're the Trump political team. But when your own voters are starting to complain, you should listen.
All right, John.
The Bolshevik Revolution also wouldn't have happened had it not been for World War I, where the Russian peasantry was eviscerated and made destitute due to war. America is not experiencing even a fraction of what people in Tsarist Russia or nationalist China were experiencing to invoke a workers' revolution. You aren't encouraging people to build the movements we need to change these dynamics by saying this doomerous stuff. No, it's not. Hope is a discipline, bro. It doesn't come from looking at the world and consuming Trump. No. Make no mistake. That's why I do what I do. That's why I always advocate for organizing. That's why I always advocate for community organizing. That's why I always advocate for labor organizing, labor union organizing. It is precisely because I think that we need to build that network, but it doesn't happen overnight. But accelerationism without any sort of like counterbalance, without any sort of organizational network to push for socialist revolution is going to turn into fascism. And it already is.
King, thanks so much.